There are moments in life when a person begins to feel the invisible weight of things he never meant to carry. Not because life demanded too much from him, but because he slowly, quietly accepted burdens that did not belong to him. Worries about how others see him, fear of possibilities that may never happen, memories that echo long after they should have faded. These begin to shape the landscape of his inner world. He lived this way for many years, waking each day with a sense that something heavy followed him everywhere, though he could not name it. His steps became slower, his thoughts became louder, and his heart became a place filled with restless tides he did not understand. And yet, from the outside, he appeared calm, composed, even wise. But deep within, he felt his life slipping away from him in small, quiet pieces. One morning, as the sun rose over the distant hills, he realized that the weight he carried did not come from fate, destiny, or circumstance. It came from his resistance, from pushing against reality, against time, against the truth that some things cannot be controlled no matter how tightly one holds on. He had spent years fighting storms that were never his to command. He tried to predict every outcome, shape every conversation, and guard himself against every possible disappointment. He thought this would bring safety, but it only tightened the chains around his own heart. His turning point came on an evening washed in soft candlelight, where he sat across from the old teacher who had guided him through many seasons of life. The teacher said something so simple that it unsettled him. "Peace does not come from having power," the old man said. "Peace comes from understanding where your power ends." At first, he dismissed the words as poetic, but impractical. Yet the more he thought about them, the more they unraveled the illusions he had lived by. The teacher drew a line on the table between them, dividing the wood into two simple spaces. "On this side," he said, "are the things you can control. On the other side are the things you cannot." He paused before continuing. "Your suffering comes from standing in the wrong space." The man stared at the line, and for the first time in his life he asked himself, "Which side do I stand on?" He began to examine the shape of his days. He realized he had tried to control people's opinions, not knowing that opinions shift like wind over tall grass. He had tried to guarantee outcomes, forgetting that results never fully belong to the one who works for them. He had tried to rewrite the past in his mind, replaying scenes that no longer existed anywhere except in memory. And he had tried to control the future, thinking that enough fear might prevent pain, even though fear only deepened the suffering it hoped to avoid. Slowly, painfully, he understood that life had become heavy because he had clenched his hands around what was never his. In the days that followed, he began a quiet ritual. Each morning, before speaking to anyone, he sat by his wooden table and closed his eyes. He asked himself one simple question: "Is this within my control?" If the answer was yes, he breathed deeply and prepared to give the best of himself, his effort, his attention, his sincerity. If the answer was no, he imagined releasing it like a leaf carried away by a gentle stream. At first, his mind resisted. Old habits clung to him like shadows. But with each sunrise, the ritual grew more natural, and he realized how many of his worries dissolved the moment he opened his hand. Over time, he noticed changes he had not expected. The thoughts that once chased him began to slow. The expectations he once feared began to soften. He discovered that most of the burdens he carried were illusions, created by a mind that had forgotten how to trust life. Letting go was not surrender. Letting go was returning to himself. Strength, he learned, was not found in tightening his grip, but in loosening it. His heart became lighter, his steps steadier, and his presence more grounded. He no longer tried to be understood by everyone. He spoke simply, honestly, and allowed others to see him as they chose. He no longer obsessed over the results of his work. He worked with intention and allowed outcomes to unfold with the rhythm of the world. He no longer replayed regrets. He honored the lessons of the past and allowed the rest to settle like dust returning to the earth. He no longer feared the future. He prepared for it while remaining rooted in the moment he was living. The greatest shift occurred the day he understood that he was not responsible for the emotions of others. He could offer kindness, but not control. He could offer truth, but not certainty. He could offer effort, but not perfection. The boundaries of his identity became clear, and in that clarity, he found the freedom he had been seeking for years without knowing it. As he walked through fields at dusk or sat beside rivers reflecting the fading light, he realized that peace had been waiting for him all along, not at the end of a long struggle, but in the quiet decision to stop fighting battles that did not matter. He saw how much life opened when he allowed each moment to be what it was instead of what he demanded it to be. He felt gratitude for simple things: the warmth of morning light, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the strength of breath filling his chest. He felt present in ways he had forgotten. One evening, as he stood at the edge of a meadow watching the sun melt into the horizon, he finally understood the meaning of the old teacher's words. Freedom was not something to be seized. It was something to be allowed, something that arrived quietly when the unnecessary was released. The world did not need to change for him to find peace. He only needed to lay down the weight he had carried for so long. And in that soft golden light, he whispered a truth he had come to know deeply. What you cannot control cannot hurt you unless you insist on holding it. The moment you let go, life becomes gentle again. The moment you trust, the path becomes clear. The moment you stop resisting, peace returns like a long-lost friend. He walked forward with a steady heart, a calm mind, and a spirit finally free, knowing that the truest form of strength is the courage to release what was never yours.